Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast, and in this episode you've not just got me, you've got Chuck as well. So that's for the first time ever you've got two presenters on one show.
Yeah.
There would only be one occasion a year that would be able to be so big that would be able to happen, and that is because, well, the day you're seeing this is Christmas Day. We're not recording this on Christmas Day. We'll probably still be asleep at this time of the day, or awake and cooking or whatever. So yeah. So Chuck is here. We do apologise if there is. There you are. There you go. We do apologise if there's delays and cuts and things, but Matthew will be doing his technical wizardry. So hopefully it should sound okay, and I hope you're enjoying your Christmas as much as you can. And yeah, so let's get on with it. So in this episode, we are going to be looking back at what the podcast has been up to this year, which is actually quite a lot. Actually, it's not obviously like other channels where it's just one thing. So obviously Chuck primarily started off is basically fills in for me where I can't do it for whatever reason, that be illness, time mostly.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously some of the big things that Chuck did definitely was Love, Death and Robots, which I think got loads of responses, because I do send Chuck all the messages that kind of apply to his episodes, which is nice. So yeah. So, and obviously some of the so yeah, that's kind of quite nice. Obviously some of the other big things that I've tried to do, so X-Men 97, which was kind of was it the first? Must have been the first kind of one that I tried to do week by week, which kind of was obviously quite a stress, because it was, I've got this one to do, and I did it with Doctor Who as well. So yeah, and as you remember, will be a slightly different Christmas special to last year, where it was just copyright stuff, and yeah, just sort of a different way of doing it. And obviously with Chuck kind of being part of the podcast family now, because I don't have more than 24 hours in a day to record things. So yeah, so Chuck, you have a couple of questions for me, don't you?
Yeah, well, firstly, thank you for introducing me so nicely, and always happy to step in for you, so which is cool. Yeah, so as far as questions, yeah, maybe questions, conversations, so on, but with regards to X-Men 97, what were your feels? Did you enjoy that? It seemed like you did in the reviews.
Yeah, I did really enjoy that one, actually, and I think I must have mentioned it in some of the episodes. I didn't watch the original series, so it was kind of like, what on earth is this? I wasn't actually going to watch it, and I think I watched a trailer and I was like, I'm going to watch this now, and I really liked it. So I'll definitely be reviewing upcoming seasons, which I might be getting next year, but definitely at some point they've confirmed a season 2, so you've got that to look forward to at some point as well. So yeah, definitely enjoyed yeah, X-Men 97, and that might be one of those things that kind of I'm surprised, like I think some of your suggestions, I think Damsel was one like that, which I kind of was like, am I really going to like this? And I did in the end. So it's nice to be surprised by things, because there's certain stuff that you may have gathered that I like Doctor Who's the perfect example of this, and Marvel DC stuff that I know I'm going to like regardless, really. So yeah, that was a nice surprise one, because I had no idea who they were. So yeah.
Yeah, but you never watched the original X-Men before that, right? So this was kind of your introduction to that sort of X-Men, piece or series, so to speak. So, because I mean, you're quite young as compared to me, I think. Well, I know, but I mean, Yeah, so you were I think born about 10 years after the original one had ended, I think, more or less, if I'm correct in saying.
Yeah, it's something like that, but definitely, and I think it definitely helped with Deadpool and Wolverine, which I still review may or may not for coming. I still haven't quite decided on that one, but yeah, like it definitely helped because Wolverine, perfect example. I knew of him, I just didn't know exactly who he was, so it was kind of helpful for that. And Channing Tatum's Gambit. I apologise for spoilers. Actually, if you've not watched Deadpool versus Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine, even I kind of have just spoiled.
Yeah, that came out in July. So if you haven't seen it by now, I think that's on the people listening. So, yeah, absolutely.
For 5 months. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think highest R-rated movie of all time, like as far as Disney property is concerned. I think actually of all time overall, I think it's the highest R-rated movie of all time, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Yeah, I think so. I think Marvel posted loads of stuff about it, like as they were climbing up, they were going the billion, and then it was, because I think it was Joker that they had to beat, and I think they did it wasn't by that much, but I still think they did, which obviously quite good. And you can actually now watch Deadpool and Wolverine everywhere on Disney Plus if you would like to. If you've not watched it or you want to rewatch it, might make more sense because we've just kind of spoiled elements of the movie, but not all of it actually. And yeah, so if you haven't watched it, please go check it out. You can watch all the MCU stuff on there, which is quite helpful, unlike DC, where you kind of have to go, oh, where's this, where's that? So there we are, or Marvel, I suppose, on the Disney Plus front. But yeah, was definitely probably my surprise of the year, that one. And obviously there's been other smaller things that we've done. Obviously we're doing previews and trailers recently. So Chuck, you did Kraven the Hunter quite recently, which I've only recently found out is the end of kind of the Sony Marvel universe things that apparently didn't do so well. So obviously you reacted to the first, was it 8 minutes or so of it? So I'm guessing you did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Did you not enjoy it?
That was yeah, so it is obviously a Marvel property in the sense of it comes from Marvel, Kraven the Hunter, released through Sony Pictures. Yeah, and it is doing okay-ish. It's not underperforming, it's not overperforming at this point at the box office. Doing okay. I don't think it just seemed like it wasn't marketed properly. I don't know, like they released a trailer, I think it was about 4 months ago, and then they released one about, I think it was about 3 weeks, like the last sort of thing, and then just before it came out, you got the first 8 minutes of the movie to sort of like titillate audiences or whatever the case is. So it was a very weird way to do it in such huge gaps, or and not in quick succession, like sort of running up to it. So it just seemed, I don't know, it seemed weird the way that they marketed it. But it's also R-rated, by the way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could see in the first 8 minutes that it's not going to be holding back on blood and gore and any sort of foul language and that kind of stuff. So, but just with regards to what you were talking about with Joker, that did 1.06 billion. It was the first actually R-rated movie to get over $1 billion, by the way, and Deadpool doing 1.3. So you're not wrong. It was not much in it. When I say not much, I mean it's 250 million. So it's quite a bit. But yeah, it's not that much that you're going, okay, the one did 2 billion, the one did 1 billion. So it was pretty close. So I mean, there's clearly a market for R-rated movies apparently in this day and age. Yeah, which is it's not sort of how it used to go. America was not very much in the space of R-rated stuff. Even with anime, I don't know if you watch too much anime from your side. I don't. I'm just letting you know. But do you watch a lot of anime?
No, it's not really my thing. It's like the big network shows a lot of it now, but no, it's not really anything that I thought I'll delve into. But yeah, I think it does have a fan base of such, and yeah, I think the rated R thing is because of because only a certain amount of people can watch it, I suppose, isn't it? So they kind of want to do things that are for everyone, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the reason why I brought it up is because there's quite an interesting history with regards to anime and American animation, where anime very much delved into like very adult themes and that kind of stuff very early on, as compared to its American counterpart, which was the Flintstones and a whole bunch of other stuff that came out at the same time. And I mean, the first time that America really delved into what would be adult animation was stuff like The Simpsons and Family Guy and South Park. I mean, South Park almost didn't. I think South Park got actually turned away by another big production house, and they actually got taken under the wing by Comedy Central. So Comedy Central's the guys that kind of made South Park happen. And at that time, adult animation in Japan was already a thing for years. So quite a different marketplace, but yeah, it's nice to see that. Look, if R-rated films are not for you, cool, but it is nice to see that stuff that has like an adult premise or messaging is actually being put out to the public and is doing well, being received well. So I kind of like it, for the sake of like stuff like Love, Death and Robots coming out. That wouldn't have come out if it wasn't for this kind of I wouldn't say acceptance, but this kind of like, okay, cool, we can actually watch this and not be offended by like everything. So like, let's watch Love, Death and Robots. It's quite, I mean, I think you watched some of it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, bits and pieces. Like the one that I watch adult animation wise, well, there's two. Solar Opposites, which is on Disney Plus everywhere apart from the US, where it's on Hulu, and it's about aliens and like that kind of violence you're talking about. And Invincible as well on Prime Video, which is like a superhero, which kind of is the boys kind of style, but they can kind of get away with a bit more because it's animated. So it's kind of that adult animation. But when you're younger, you're not really going to want to watch it and you won't know about it unless it's on, I suppose.
But do you think I actually agree with you. I think that people can get away with a lot more with animation because it was generally looked at as a children's medium. We kids kind of watching this thing going, oh, okay, cool. This is for kids, and then you're watching stuff that's meant for kids, but then the messaging and the jokes and the humor are very much not in the children's space. So I think you're 100% right, where you can get away with a lot more because it's animated. So I mean, if you watch Family Guy and South Park or American Dad or like you say, Invincible, there's a lot you can get away with through animation, which is it's a cool medium for that reason, I guess. But Invincible, are you up to speed there or no?
Ish. So I watched the first, it's been a while now, the first full season, and I got halfway through because they did a mid-season break, and I think I kind of so I can't remember, I think I got distracted by something else I was wanting to watch. So then by the time the second half, but obviously the third season is coming out. Let me get my dates right. I think it is the 6th of February. So I want to try and catch it up before then so I can hopefully do reviews on it and stuff like that, because it's kind of out of that realm. But again, back to the podcast as a whole, it's loads of different things, like back to what this Christmas special is about how celebrating how much different things this channel has done this year. And so you're right. February 6th, 2025, Invincible season 3. So so that's something to look forward to, and obviously you're going to get up to date so you can do a few things there. What was similar to Invincible? I remember you're talking about like the history of, it's like a nice segue to talk about some of the stuff you've done. There was a cartoon that you did a review on. The name of it is eluding me right now. It was just a short sort of mini series in a bunch of different styles, and
There was that baby with the laser eyes. I think that was the first episode.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. It took me what? Yes, so that's actually a spin-off, I guess you would call it, from The Boys actually, which were like 5-ish minutes long, which is why I managed to do those episodes so quickly. Actually, was because they were 5 minutes long, and it was okay. This happens, this happens, this happens, and then the episode finishes. So it's quite helpful. So like, I've talked about this on the channel before. Like movies take a while because obviously they are like. They're 2 hours, whereas something like that where it's 5, maybe 10 minutes are very easy. Okay, let's get all of these done in one go, and whereas a movie might take me a day or so to do. So yeah, it just depends, because obviously earlier in the year I was kind of doing the movies, and it kind of became clear that no, it wouldn't work with wanting to get as many episodes out as we do, because not many channels do 7 episodes a year, especially at this time of the year now. So yeah, it's kind of it's a nice opportunity, and kind of not putting ourselves in a corner of okay, we're only going to cover this and therefore we have to wait. So like obviously Star Wars wise, you had The Acolyte in the summer, and now you've just had Skeleton Crew, and then you'd have to wait all the way until some of the other shows. Oh, Andor in April, so you'd have to wait a couple of months, whereas with this channel you kind of dip in and out, so it kind of is nice. And obviously Chuck, you've been doing that as well with some of the other things. Obviously you primarily did love Death and Robots, didn't you? So
yeah, which obviously ties into Next Level, which launched, well, I think it's launching today if I'm not mistaken. So just to go back while I'm looking for this other one, so that one that we were talking about was The Boys Diabolical. That's animation that we were talking about. That was quite open season as far as being out there as far as gore goes and all those sort of things. Why am I getting this name wrong? That's Secret Level is what it's called. I think I called it Next Level by accident, so sorry about that. So that came out 3 days ago, Secret Level, which is actually the same guys or like similar production houses and people on board to do Secret Level. So you can 100% see, like I mentioned in the sort of reviewing the trailer, whatever the case is, you can 100% see it's very much in line with what Love, Death and Robots was, like as far as stylistically and what they're going for, with that retelling of all these games that are going to be coming out there. So I think what's this, 15? There's 15 of them coming out. It's like Armored Core. What's the other one? That would be Warhammer. Armored Core is the one that Keanu Reeves is in. I don't know I think you might have seen that, if I'm not mistaken. The trailer for it. Yeah, I think I did catch it. It's been a couple of days now, but yeah, like 15 episodes for a show now is relatively quite good. You don't, like, if you look at what we've just talked about, The Boys is 8, Invincible's 8, like X-Men 97 was 10, Doctor Who's 9 really now. To get 15 episodes for something is quite good. So is that released all at once, or is it released every week? Yeah, so they're talking about like an anthology. So I think what they're gonna do, so the first 7-part the first part was released on December 10th, and that was I think that's 8, and then the second 7 episodes released on December 17th, so it's like a week later. So 8 parts. 3 days ago, and then in another 4 days, obviously from recording this, you guys will see it on the 25th on Christmas Day. Merry Christmas, by the way, just in case. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. But 4 days from recording this, we will be getting the second part of the anthology, the 7-piece. So 15 in total over like a week span, basically.
Yeah, and obviously that
Yeah.
back to that recording date thing. Like it's a time we have to record in advance. We were not going to be recording this like on Christmas Day or the day before. Well, we don't want to kill Matthew, number one, and number two, we actually kind of want to regain our sanity. So,
Yeah, like record it at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then we get it out at just before 12, just before Christmas ends.
yes, let's not do that.
And that's pushing it.
Yeah, exactly. We do want Matthew to keep doing it and not lose his sanity. So yeah. So just if you're just I don't know why you would be catching this halfway through, but just as an update, we've so far talked about X-Men 97, Love, Death and Robots, Invincible, The Boys, Diabolical, Love, Death and Robots, and Secret Level so far.
Wow.
So there you go.
Exactly.
That's quite a bit, but that barely touches the surface of what we've covered this year, which kind of just goes to show how much stuff we actually cover, which is nice, especially with the two presenter thing now, because I do remember, was it earlier in the year or last year, I can't remember, but there was a gap where obviously that doesn't happen anymore, because it's like, Chuck, can you go and record some for me please? And that's what happens, and then magically Matthew does them, and then they're on ready, and then they're up for you. Well, I do that bit. That's my job. Matthew just animates them, sends them over to me, and I go boop boop, where am I going to put these today, tomorrow, whatever. So yeah, there's a little behind the scenes stuff. And obviously this is the first episode of two presenters, which obviously because me and Chuck are actually in different countries, which is just shows the marvels of the internet as well. So it's kind of nice to kind of do this, but we obviously can't do it all the time for that reason, because sometimes I just squeeze time when I can to do it, never mind. And obviously Chuck has other things than to be a podcast presenter. So yeah. Did you have any other questions for me?
Yeah, you say you got a question for me?
No.
Oh, you're saying mine. Okay, well, what I actually wanted to ask about, because I know you obviously do a lot of Doctor Who based stuff. So I think the main thing since the Doctor Who with Ncuti Gatwa ended a little bit early in the year, the gaps have been filled with Big Finish. So that's something that you seem quite passionate about as far as the Big Finish. So that's obviously some of the older stories from the older Doctor Who's, some of the newer stuff. So it's all these audio adventures and that kind of stuff. So what's the draw? Like what's the thing that you like most about it? I mean, obviously,
well,
the science fiction part, but I mean, you're very passionate about it.
Yeah, there's two different answers kind of to that, really. The first part is that from a podcast point of view, it's an absolute pain, because for a TV show, you could see it, so I can't. So kind of review-wise, it's an absolute nightmare, which is A, it takes forever, and B, I'm trying to kind of, if you want me to still do them, let me know, please. But I'm kind of trying to go, is it kind of worth it, or do I kind of just stick to visual stuff? Please let me know. Let us know in the comments, and we'll try and see what happens. But yeah, like I can't even remember how I found it, to be honest. But I did kind of, it is that kind of, it's that it's not all the same. Like there seems to be a common theme, but it's not the same kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, because from what I can tell, because I actually haven't had access to it at this point, but what it seems like is that some of the stories have to do with vampires, and the other one has to do with space robots, and then the other one has to do with like crazy monsters. So it's all over the place, and all of these different sort of like audio dramas, I think is what they call it, and it seems to be all over the place as far as stylistically. Story-wise, all that kind of stuff, which kind of, for nerds, like, it seems it's interesting. Like for me, being a big nerd, it's always interesting to find like these stories you can kind of get encapsulated with. Like you were talking about the other day, I forget her name. There's a part 4 that came out. I think you did it there's something about a week ago. I forget this lady's name now. Terrible. gosh. Help me out, Ben.
I don't know. Like they're a bit all over the place, but I think the point is that it is, like you say, all over the place. So it is kind of nice. And I've had a couple of comments saying, "Oh, I didn't really like season 1, but I like these." So I kind of like, maybe you've kind of gone, "Oh, do I like this anymore?" Maybe I wasn't. I really liked season 1, but if you didn't, then maybe Big Finish is your thing. For that kind of reason. So I definitely think that it's just more things, which especially with this episode count being reduced from a couple of years ago where it was 13 then 12 then 10, now 8, well 9 really, with the Christmas special, like which there is a preview already scheduled, which so that will be coming out, just to plug there. So yeah, that would kind of be my answer to that one.
Yeah, you've obviously seen the Christmas special trailer, right?
Yes, yeah. Well, there's I didn't know if they'd release a trailer, because they released something at Comic-Con, Children in Need, they released something, so I kind of didn't know if there was a trailer, but there was, but then I did watch it, yeah. And obviously that's, speaking about craziness, that's seems to be taking place across all of the time periods possible, like there's dinosaurs in it, there's space, and yeah, it's a bit
sliding towards a T-Rex mouth, which is always fun, you know.
Yeah,
I'm talking to you, Chris Pratt, and Jurassic World. Because when I saw the dinosaurs, I was like, okay, and then you see, you know, all these different time periods, all this different stuff going on. So I'm not sure, like, is there any indication of how long it's going to be? Do you know?
An hour, from what I've seen, because the BBC, which is where it is, in the UK, they've got a blooming they've got loads and loads of stuff on that day, so it's on at 5:10 in the UK, which kind of convert that to whatever, because it's going to be all at the same time, like with season 1, but the difference being it's not at midnight in the UK, because I do remember staying up to watch it, and I don't normally stay up to watch things, but I did with Doctor Who, because I kind of hadn't been used to, because it would be on a Saturday night, so that's easy, not midnight Friday night, Saturday morning, so I'd watch it and then go to bed, and then when I then once I woke up, I'd do the review for it, so there you go. So
yeah, I actually remember that. I do remember that. So air dates, it's obviously 5:10 UK time, right? Yeah, so what is your the UK time called, like the you know,
GMT, I think.
Yeah, 5:10 GMT, and then you can obviously work it out if you want to watch it, where to watch it, you know, in the States, Eastern time, Central time, you know, Australia, etc. You can just work it out from there. But it looks like there's a lot going on, like a lot, and I think when I saw, now that you say the runtime's an hour, I feel a little bit more at ease, because I'm thinking, you know, if they make like a very short one, you know, when I say short, I mean shorter, maybe like 30-35 minutes, to add all of that plus sort of character arcs, you know, building story, you know, all this other stuff that has to go with it to make it good. I was thinking, sure, half an hour is not going to cut it, even 45 minutes. So I'm a little bit happier that it's going to be an hour long. Because they say estimated an hour, because it's not like an official runtime at this point that you can find online. I've actually checked, and there's not. So I think an hour more or less is kind of what you're looking to expect. Hopefully longer. I'm hoping like the sort of 110 kind of thing to get it out properly. Yeah.
Well, we'll find out. Well, you'll know today, actually. That should be a point that we could continue to mention, that you could watch it today. So obviously the episodes tend to go about 10 o'clock in the morning, so in about 7 hours or so. So kind of in 7 hours, what time it is now when this episode goes out, just add 7 hours, and then that's the time it'll be for you. There's an easy way to figure it out.
Yeah, because you're playing the timey-wimey game with obviously recording it a little bit before the time to animate it.
Like that's
fun. Yeah, I can see why it rocks the brain sometimes, because you're like, hold on, wait a second, it's today technically when the show's coming out, and it'll be Christmas, and then, you know, you get to watch Doctor Who at 5:10 GMT. So yeah, look forward to that, and let us know in the comments if you enjoyed it or not. That would be cool. So on this episode, just pop that into the comments. That'd be rad to see if you guys enjoyed it or not. Yeah, just be nice and honest and all that fun stuff, and yeah, let us know what you thought of it. So yeah. So with regards to the big finish that I was talking about, it's Bernice Summerfield, by the way, that I was kind of thinking about, because there's like a part 4 that has come out, or is going to come out, because you did a preview on it, Eternity Club 4, right?
Yeah, so that came out yesterday from when I'm recording this, which is about 2 weeks from when you're seeing it. Right, there's the maths. Yeah. So I've already listened to it. I really enjoyed it. So kind of it was an hour per part, if that makes sense.
How many?
So there's 2 episodes in each, and it's 8 stories of half an hour each across four different months, I think is what you would say. So yeah, I enjoyed it. So there we are.
So this Eternity Club Part 4, is that 2 parts of a half an hour, or is that 8 parts of half an hour?
So 2 half. No, so each Eternity Club has 2 half an hour episodes, so it's an hour as a whole. But like Part 4 is kind of, it's more like a 2-parter, whereas some of the others where you could definitely see that they were different, but they were kind of leading into each other, as you would expect with any kind of finale of anything, really. So.
Okay, cool. And you said you enjoyed that one?
Yeah, most of the Big Finish I tend to enjoy. Obviously, some of the older Doctors I'm not as familiar with, but I do tend to enjoy it. And the shorter ones, again, are easier to write because they're not as long. Whereas like the 3-hour ones, I'm like, how long have I listened to? Right, because obviously that's kind of, there's nothing for you to see, so it's kind of right. What am I seeing, and then how do I write that down? It's kind of an extra. And you've got to describe what you're experiencing. Yeah, it's definitely a very, very different kind of way of doing reviews, which is why I said earlier, like, if you don't want me to do them anymore, or you want me to continue to do them, let me know, because they are kind of, not pain isn't the right word, but they kind of are a bit trickier with that kind of stuff, because it's not like you can actually see it. So yeah, let us know, and we'll kind of go with what you say, really. There you are. So yeah, always ask the chats in the comment section. Those are the best people to ask about these kind of things. So yeah. But tell me, you're talking about like reviews that are more painful. Would you say that Doctor Who's Big Finish or Oppenheimer? What would you say? Can I take a guess? Well, Oppenheimer, I think, was worse, even though it was sometimes shorter, because it was just, it's a war film. I don't do war films. I never have done. And kind of, when I saw that comment, I was like, I said I'm going to do it. And that kind of was not on my mind. And I think I must have mentioned a couple of times that episode, it wasn't for me. And I kind of was very open with that kind of mindset. So it wasn't like it was, oh, surprise, he doesn't like it. I was making it very clear, but it was, it drags. And sometimes that does happen with some of the Big Finishes, actually, sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't, because I have to pause the Big Finishes more often than I have to pause like the visual ones, because I have to kind of think and then go, right, how do I then do it? Instead of I literally just write kind of what I see pretty much, but I can't do that because obviously with audio it's what's in your head, and trying to fish that out and go, right, let's write that on a piece of paper is kind of a task in itself. So yeah,
100%.
Yeah, so
100%. Yeah, no, agreed. I think as far as the ones that you were surprised from what I've seen is and it surprised me too, because I obviously know you quite a bit, and it surprised me that as far as like Roadhouse, because it was in the comment section with people commenting saying, okay, cool, can you do a review on this and this and this, or whatever the case is. And the 2 that came out that you did was Roadhouse and Oppenheimer. And I honestly thought that you'd like Oppenheimer and not like Roadhouse.
Yeah,
and it was the opposite. Like, it was the opposite.
yeah, it was the opposite. Yeah, but kind of when because I like Roadhouse, like X-Men 97, is based on kind of another previous one, so it kind of is different in that kind of sense. But yeah, I did definitely like it. And Oppenheimer, like and Oppenheimer obviously was based on a true story, so I think they had to be really careful with what they could and couldn't do. And it wasn't the most happy story, really.
No.
And as I mentioned at the end of that Roadhouse review, like if you enjoyed it, there's a second one coming. If you didn't, bad news, there's a second one coming. So yeah, will probably be doing that whenever that comes. But obviously movies take a couple of years, as well seasons of shows, it's they try to do those every year if they can. Well, not so much anymore, actually. No, like The Boys kind of follows that kind of 2-year thing as well. But yeah, and House of the Dragon for an example. So there you are.
Big all this big budgets, you know.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like with the older sort of sitcom-y kind of vibe, you know, the sets were there, it's just a script, you got to kind of film what you're doing, like Friends and How I Met Your Mother and that kind of stuff. And that's why they could bring out, even Big Bang Theory, that's why they could bring out, you know, 22, 24 episodes a year. Where now, you've got all these huge budgets, crazy things going on, you know, riding on massive success, which, you know, big risk, big reward, fine. But yeah, that seems to be the route that most sort of production houses are going now, with this, everything has to be absolutely monstrous, you know, and visuals and all this kind of stuff, which is, it's good because you know, like if there's a show that hits, it hits hard and you kind of really enjoy it because you're like, wow, you know. But there's a lot of the stuff that I feel maybe if it was a little bit more grounded could kind of have a different appeal to, you know, without like an accentuated budget, you know, like a budget that's overblown and inflated. So yeah, there's that kind of sweet spot that I think, well, there's a place that maybe people are missing. I don't know, like, because everything has to be like huge, like monstrosities, $150 million, $200 million budgets, you know, which is crazy, like, because you've got to get your money back at the same time. So I don't know, what's your feels there? Do you think like over bloated budgets these days seem to be a staple?
Well, it kind of depends. Like, I think Marvel kind of started that, but obviously they have to. Like, if you're looking at the new Avengers films coming out over the next couple of years, they're going to have to be. They have to pay all their actors, number one, and it's blooming huge. Whereas, yeah, maybe some of the smaller stuff in it, like some of the smaller stuff, maybe it's possibly even better than some of that big stuff at times, just because it depends. Like Marvel, they overstretch themselves. There's loads of reports about visual effects people kind of being worked to the bone as such, and it's not great to kind of hear those kind of things, where just space them out and give them the time. Like on the Marvel vs DC thing, like Superman and Lois, their budget was cut. They weren't allowed as many cast members, and the visual effects in there were quite good. And they just had they finished in April, and that came out October to December, so they did have quite a long time. So I think it's more that rather than that you need a big budget, because I don't think you do really. Like, for example, even something like this podcast, I've got 2 pairs of headphones, a laptop and a phone, and that's it. Like, it's not some kind of huge studio or anything like that. So yeah, you don't need a huge budget to do great things.
Yeah, something decent. Like, for example, Godzilla -1. I mean, say what you want, but that movie did it, love it or hate it, it did well, and it was only $50 million. No, 12 million. I think it's 12 million. 12 or 15, somewhere around there. But it wasn't, you know, 100 or 150 million. You know, and it did amazingly at the box office. Good movie. Yeah, you can obviously see the difference between something, when I say something, like movies that are done well with 200 as compared to Godzilla -1, you can 100% see the difference. However, to think if you watch that movie and then someone told you the budget afterwards, your mind would absolutely be blown, because you're like, there's no ways they made this for this price. And they did. Look, I don't like reading subtitles, which is, you know, I really don't like that. So it's like reading a book and watching a film at the same time. That's kind of how I put it together. But yeah, it was great. It was a good movie. You can't fault it. Like I mean, that's why I said love it or hate it. But I mean, you know, either you enjoyed it or you didn't, which is the wonders of movies. You know, it's all you know, subjective. So that's the wonders of movies. But it seemed like a lot more people liked it than they didn't. Did good on IMDb. So yeah, like, and not too bad for a $15 million innings. So there you go. Sorry. Anyways, but yeah, man. Yeah, so we're sitting at about 39 minutes now. Yeah, and I think we've covered quite a bit for a Christmas special. If you're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah. So obviously, just a quick mention. Obviously, the podcast will be continuing. It will be me and Chuck. I do kind of hope that Chuck doesn't have to do it for weeks and weeks and weeks. So it kind of, how it should work is I record at the weekend, get as many episodes as I can, and kind of Chuck fills in those gaps is the hope. But sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And thank you as always for the support, all the comments. You may have noticed I do kind of reply to each one, which is a bit time consuming, but I like doing it because it's not like, and most of the comments are quite positive. There might be the odd negative one, but I just kind of try to ignore it. And I think that's a life kind of style. You could probably, everyone, including I, could probably take that on board. So yeah, you'll hear more from us actually tomorrow. So yeah, this week definitely. This week when you're seeing it, not when we're recording, you'll see loads. You will have seen Mufasa: Lion King, What If, Bad Tidings, and this week you will see a few big finishes. There'll be a lot of probably stuff, and there's probably stuff that I've not recorded or even thought about yet, maybe. But yes, obviously we'll be heading into 2025, which will be the fourth year. The second full year for daily episodes, but as kind of a channel as a whole, it's the fourth year. So yes, thanks as always for your support, and thank you for Chuck for joining me for this episode.
You're almost welcome, my man. It's been a lot of fun having to chat with you, and yeah, I think it's really cool doing an episode because this will be the first one where you'll actually see two characters on screen with an interaction, so that's always fun to watch. So thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, keep an eye on anything you want me to preview, review, recap, anything like that. Well, and Chuck as well, put that in the comments below. And remember, you can also like, comment and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of Everything Podcast. Have a great rest of your Christmas and goodbye.
Bye-bye.